Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today I'd like to speak to you about a very important subject, which is what's happening in Hong Kong and similarly what is happening in the Islamic world. I call this video the falling down of one of the main pillars of Islam and the destruction of the pillars of um, communism. For those of you who do not know about Islam, to become a Muslim, there are five pillars. If you Google them, the five pillars of Islam, they will come. But the first one is to believe in Allah and testify that Muhammad is his prophet. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this one. This is simple. The second one, actually, the destruction of the main pillar, it doesn't look like it is a pillar, but if you look at it carefully, it's the most important pillar, because the second pillar of Islam is to pray, and the Islamic prayer is to recite Quran in the prayer 5 times a day. The Muslim recite Quran in his prayer. Now, when you hit Quran and you ignore part of it, this is very dangerous, because it means it's contradictory to that time being. All Muslim leaders believe that Islam is good for any age and for any type of people. Now, Saudi Arabia, the heart or where Islam started, is actually breaking that pillar. So when a pillar breaks in its homeland, where it was originated, the end is near. Recently, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, I normally call him the Clown Prince of Saudi Arabia, allowed women to travel without a guardian, a male guardian. And many people may say, so what's the big deal here? The big deal is Quran states clearly that women have to be accompanied by a male relative, that who a person cannot marry them. For example, if a woman, let's say a Saudi woman, she wants to go to receive medical attention in America or in a country in Europe or even in Saudi Arabia, but in a different town or in the same town, she has to go out with a male guardian from her home to the doctor or to the hospital in another town or in another country. That's in the Quran. Quran says women stay home. That's where you belong. I'm not discussing Quran now, but that's what Quran says. And the Islamic religious leaders, they come and they stand up and they teach that women have to stay home. You cannot and should not and will not leave your home. without a male guardian. And now this is changing. So even though uh, letting women travel now domestically and overseas without a male guardian, that nullify all that it has been taught by these religious leaders. So what is going on? And when you ignore Quranic verses once, what will happen later? You will ignore more. I have a prediction for you, and I just said that in the Arabic video. Even though I'm not a prophet, but I can make better prediction than Muhammad. I can predict this to you, that within 3 years' time, that hijab and the covering of the eyes and the face and all that garbage, they put the woman in a like in a garbage bag, in a plastic, like where you put the garbage. All that, all that within 3 years will be optional, and probably within one generation, the coming generation will not follow this nonsense. Islam is dead. Thank you. Now, about Hong Kong, because actually the ideology of Islam is a false one, is a destructive one, and it has to go. The communist ideology also, it's a false one. It is a dictatorship, exactly like Islam. The caliphate is a dictator. Whatever he says, Muslims have to follow. The all the communist leaders, they had to be dictators because they control people by force. It's not optional. You do what the leader says. Okay? In the Soviet Union, the communist ideology was adopted in 1917. In 1987, which approximately it was about 70 years. Okay? The spark of the destruction of the ideology in this ideology in the Soviet Union, it started in 1987. By 1989, it was disintegrating. It was gone practically. Now, China was hoping to celebrate on October 1st, 2019, 70 years of successful communism, and they wanted to show how wonderful communism is. And I don't think they counted on these things coming up, all these demonstrations. However, I believe what started that, it was orchestrated, but they didn't think it will go that far, and they thought they can actually control it. When a young man and his girlfriend went from Hong Kong to Taiwan on vacation, and then the guy came back home to Hong Kong, and the girl was found murdered in Taiwan. And many cases like that happen, but Taiwan cannot ask for the guy to come to face persecution in Taiwan, because there is no extradition between the two countries. So China interfered and said, okay, send him to us to try him. I think that whole story was orchestrated, and they sacrificed the girl or the girlfriend of this guy so that they can make a law to extradite people from Hong Kong to mainland. And that would spell disaster, because it means if one person the Chinese authority does not like in Hong Kong is trying to keep democracy or talks about democracy or to stay in the democratic system after Britain left, they can just send a long arm, snatch him out, bring him to the mainland of China, persecute him there, and kill him or get rid of him or whatever. And that's when the people of Hong Kong stood up and fought back. They are actually in a very vulnerable and dangerous situation now because they actually succeeded. They made their own national anthem, even though they sang it with masks because it's very dangerous. But once you develop an identity and belonging to a certain land, then you are saying to China, stay away from me. So China in a lose-lose situation now because they wanted to celebrate the 70th anniversary of communism on October 1st, 2019. Now, if they try to control that mob in Hong Kong by force, it will be not a celebration, it will be a mourning. It will be a disaster on China and the Chinese ideology of communism. And if they stay still, the spark of the taste of freedom, because those who survived Tiananmen Square 1989, many of them still alive. They became parents or grandparents by now. These people could actually be activated once again, and this time China cannot repeat the same atrocity as what happened in Tiananmen Square 1989 or June 1989. So here, two false ideology, communism as well as Islam. Communism, I don't ask me why it's 70 years, I don't know. Communism did not endure as much as Islam. Communism within 70 years, whether it's in the Soviet Union or China, it looks like it goes out of commission. And even if China sees the 70th anniversary of communism, it will never see the 80th anniversary of communism. Communism will be done with. Probably the age of Islam, I don't know, it's actually also 7. The number is 7 because the age of Islam is 1,400 years. That's 700 years. Similar to 70 years of communism in the Soviet Union and 70 years of communism in China, it makes 140. Similar to 1400 years of Islam under Muhammad. Both of them are to go. Thank you very much. We hope to hear from you.